I wanted to check in with you on the reading, and I really, in many ways, I'm not going to try and provide a lecture of the material that you're reading. I just want to plant an idea, and that can maybe become a bit of a project for us as a class. I think that it's worth stopping and noting that. So, what is the role of authority in the unfolding history of the church? And I think I've already shared with you some of, my understanding of this is that authority is a central issue. Like who is in charge, who's making decisions, and how much authority is a healthy amount of authority to have. And while we're doing that, and as I was reflecting on the reading that we're doing presently as a class, I began to think about, especially with England, with Britain, the idea, the understanding of what happened with the Church of England and the role of, in the relationship really between church and state, and how important that is. And that certainly sort of comes out as part of our study in the in the history of the Reformation. And so, and I know you know this, in chapter 8, this is the preface. It's from the English Parliament from the year 1534. Be it enacted by the authority of this present Parliament that the King, our sovereign Lord, his heirs and successors, kings of this realm, shall be taken, accepted, and reputed the only supreme head on earth of the Church of England. So here is a declaration by a state, the government, if you will, that declares that it's the state that's going to appoint leadership. And by the way, authority goes hand in hand with this, right? And I began to think about, in our time, how important this issue remains for the community of any community of faith. What is the relationship between church and state? I mean, how do you navigate that in the world that we live in? And how is it that in our time, with so much turmoil politically, and we honestly are living in a time where many people in a community of faith, the real thing that identifies, at least their understanding, has to do with the political or partisan understanding. It's not really in the sense of theological or, an attempt to be even biblical in their understanding of maybe the world and the way it works. More and more people are gravitating toward a political identity in the world. So what are the implications of this? And how is it that, what about authority and then the relationship between church and state? What can we learn from our studies? What can we learn from the Reformation, especially in the in the sections that we're reading presently about the Britain's Reformation? How do we take away certain insights that maybe would help us navigate this particular season in this country with the healthy and proper relationship between church and state? And we're seeing a lot of, this. It's in the news. It's all over the press at this particular time. Prayer at football games. That's a recent Supreme Court ruling that came down. What is the right place of government, and where does it fit in with the life of religion? And what is the relationship? How should that look? I mean, we live in a time when so many people seem, the whole idea of Christian nationalism and how that's tied in many ways to a supremacy ideology that exists in our time. So I thought that it's worth stopping for a moment and just asking you to think and consider with me, What does that look like? What is the proper relationship between church and state? What I'd like to do in the days ahead is maybe post a discussion question. Beyond that, would love to hold or host a Zoom kind of meeting that we could talk about this together as a class. And I realize that right ahead of us it is Independence Day. July 4th is here almost. And so I hope that you can celebrate that and that you can maybe have some time off with your friends and family. But I also hope that you will begin to think more deeply about this issue. I believe it to be one of the key issues of our time, an important issue. And again, authority, the issue of authority, and the relationship between church and state. So think about those things, and I'll let you know when I post something additional. In the meantime, keep reading, keep dive deeply into the areas that you find very, very interesting, and I hope that you are having a good week. Take care.